The Cardinals and the Dodgers played a very tight and competitive series, but the Cardinals lost that series, which only makes things even more frustrating as Cardinals fans watch their season slip away.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. So make sure you come on by, like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us and hit that notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball, the most frustrated fans in baseball, all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. So we're going to start this off by saying something positive. The St. Louis Cardinals did not get swept this weekend. All right. That's good to hear because coming into the weekend, obviously the Cardinals had lost 4 in a row coming into the weekend, and things were glum. Nothing was fun. It was a rough go. It was a rough go considering what we had just seen in Cincinnati. It was bad. And it's sad that that's where we are in this season, because the season, it has been a roller coaster where, he started off slow. We knew that the early portion of the schedule was going to be tough. They came out not very good. The doubters were all out in full force saying, yeah, here we go again. Cardinals are going to be awful again here in 2024. But then schedule lightened up a little bit. Things started to turn around. There was some hope. There was some belief out there. And now here we are again, right back where we started at the beginning of this season when the Dodgers took 2 of 3 to start the year. And the thing that hurts the most is that it isn't so much that the Dodgers, it'd be different. Like, so the Reds kicked the hell out of the Cardinals, right? And then the Cardinals play the Dodgers, and you've got some pretty entertaining games, really. The Dodgers with all their weapons and all their resources, it's not like they came into Busch Stadium and just dominated by any means. I mean, they're a better team, especially when they're healthy. I mean, just go look at the rosters. But, the Cardinals barely lose game 1. They finally get the offense you were looking for with 6 runs, and it still wasn't enough. It's just like it's always something. It's the yin and the yang. Every time something seems to go right, the other side of the machine breaks down. And that's kind of how it started on Friday, because you had that was a close game. That's a game that you've had multiple leads in and you blow them. Game 2 obviously went better. And then game 3 was just a tough pitcher's duel. But Friday night's game, you score 6 runs, you need to win those ball games, especially with this Cardinals offense. If you're going to get 6 runs out of these guys, you better be winning that game. And they didn't. It wasn't enough, because one of the worst investments the team has made recently continues to be unable to hold up his end of the bargain, and that is Miles Mikolas. Miles Mikolas makes $17.6 million this season, which is a preposterous number considering the production that you're getting in return. I think Miles as a person is a hell of a guy. I really do. I think he's very entertaining. I like his honesty. I like that he's quirky. He works hard, clearly, stays fit, takes care of himself, wants to win. None of that stuff has ever been an issue. It's not about who he is or mentally what he brings. It's not about commitment. It's not about preparation or anything like that. How many times have we heard Ollie, guys are working hard. Okay, great. Maybe they're just not that good. Maybe that's just what it is. It's not like that Dusty Blake has screwed somebody up or that our hitting coaches, and maybe the players aren't good. Maybe that's what it is. Because Miles Mikolas has not been good for a little while now. And when John Mozeliak gave him that extension before spring training, it was during spring training actually last year, but he gave him that extension ahead of Jordan Montgomery. You guys remember this, right? Like we were all like, okay, when's the Jordan Montgomery extension coming in, man? We got to lock him up, right? And they signed Miles Mikolas first. And I remember thinking about it and on this show saying, hey, loyalty-wise, Miles Mikolas, he's been here, been pretty solid for you. Probably not a bad idea. Boy, was I wrong. Because nothing about this has been good with Miles Mikolas since this extension has been signed. Like, it's been rough. So they don't get Jordan signed. They end up having a crappy start to the year. Montgomery gets traded, goes on to win a ring with Texas, is with Arizona now, where things haven't been great. Haven't really gone according to plan, but the Diamondbacks are still winning. So he's in a much better place than where the Cardinals are right now. Meanwhile, the Cardinals continue to be stuck in the mud because of their offense and their pitching. Friday, the offense comes to life, but the pitching falters. 5 runs off Mikolas. Increases his ERA in the 3 August starts to 9.22. That's terrible. It's awful. It's unacceptable. He got hammered last year, and he's getting hammered again this year. He's given up the 3rd most hits in baseball this year, the 3rd most runs. Opponents are hitting 286 against him, 3rd worst in baseball. He's given up 20 home runs, 4th most in the National League. He's one of the worst pitchers in baseball, and you just can't deny it anymore. I can go and we can go, oh, look how good he did against Washington and recently against Atlanta. Yay, Miles. But for every solid game that he has, he gets his brains beat in a couple times. His ERA this year has never gotten lower than 4.59. Which is where it was after his win against the Cubs back on June 16th. He then gave up 4 runs in 6 innings against the Giants and then got slaughtered for 10 and 4 1/3 innings against the Reds and has been trying to recover ever since. That is what $17.6 million per season is getting you. That is who John Mozeliak wanted to lock up. 17.6 is a pretty big chunk of change, guys. And I know salaries are extravagant in sports. But Miles Mikolas is one of the top 25 highest paid starting pitchers in baseball. John Mozeliak gave that money to that man, who was never a top 25 type of pitcher in the league. He had a couple of good seasons, right? We were all like, yeah, he's very serviceable when he's healthy. Remember, he had some injury issues for a while there too. But, I mean, has he ever really, that first year, obviously the numbers were better when he came over from overseas. But, I mean, I don't think anybody was ever like, dude, this is Miles Mikolas. Look out. I don't think you've ever heard that. His 17.6, man, just to put it in perspective, he's making more than Tyler Glass now with the Dodgers. Chris Sale, who might win the Cy Young with the Braves this year. Nathan Eovaldi with the Rangers. Corbin Burns, who's with Baltimore, is about to cash in this year as a free agent. Shane Bieber with the Guardians, who I know Cardinal fans have loved. He's hurt right now, but makes more than him. Makes more than Max Fried with the Braves. And there's like a bazillion more who are better than him. And here's the beauty of it, guys. You get Miles Mikolas for another year at this salary. You still got another year of this to go through it before it's finally over. At age, 36? It's rough. Andrew Kittredge did not help matters on Friday, trying to clean up the Mikolas mess with that 3-run shot that he gave up to Kevin Kiermaier, a guy who the Blue Jays just dumped into the lap of the Dodgers. Like, here, you can just take him. And before you get angry about Kitt, and I know that there's been some frustrating innings with Kittredge. There's been a lot more, since the first half when he was so good. And then reality kind of started to set in a little bit. And so, he's got a little more traffic on the bases when he's out there these days. But Kitt had not allowed a run in his last 8 appearances. So he's been pretty darn good, and he's been overworked. He's only 3 appearances away from matching his career high, which is 57. He's coming off of surgery. Remember, he came back last year. This is his first full year back from it. He's thrown a lot, and we still have the rest of August and all of September to go. So I think it's 38 games remaining on the schedule, and Kittredge is 3 away from his career high in appearances. Rest of the pen looked good on Friday night. Offense on Friday, you saw Pop with Goldie win. Paez, whoa. Where'd that power come from? Oh, the bomb, right? They only had 6 hits, but they also had 6 walks, which is fine by me. Get traffic on the bases. Got to get them in, though, right? 6 runs should be enough to get a win, but it wasn't. It was a very frustrating loss. Very annoying. As you can tell, I'm annoyed by it all because you play a game where that should have been yours, and you lost it. Saturday, the Cardinals had a pretty complete game, which was nice to see because we haven't seen much of those this year. Andre Pallante coming up huge on Saturday has got people talking about what his future with the Cardinals should be. It's a positive thing. So we're gonna go with that next. We'll jump into it on Locked On Cardinals. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members, and it's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, PrizePicks has got you going up against the numbers, not other people. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you just watch your winnings roll in. It's very nice. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has you covered each week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to helping your lineup hit or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can do that, right? Turn $10 into $1,000, and it's not just baseball. We're talking football and soccer and WNBA and MMA and PGA. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's just guaranteed. They just give it to you. Preseason football is underway. My Packers looked terrible last night, but it is preseason, so I'm not going to freak out too much. But you can also pick more or less on 2024 season stats on PrizePicks. Will Patrick Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards this year? I would bet the over on that. Will C.J. Stroud's sophomore season result in more or less than 4,150 yards? I'm going to bet above that too. I'm going with it. Enter your season picks before week 1 kicks off. All kinds of stuff that you can put money on. So download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast hosted by Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, who is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, which is available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A reminder, you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app, search the word Cardinals. You got the Brewers coming to town for the next 3. Obviously, a huge series. Not that you're even remotely thinking about the division anymore, but if you don't win 2 or 3, you just can't afford to lose games anymore. Like this is it. You're up against the wall. It's not looking good. I understand that. But we've seen collapses and we've seen streaks happen, and maybe the Cardinals can go on one. We'll find out. But after the disappointment that was Friday, a game you should have won, considering everything involved, but you didn't. Saturday, you had a matchup where it was Andre Pallante against Bobby Miller. Now, we all probably have a little PTSD about Bobby Miller at the beginning of the year. Remember the game that he threw against the Cardinals where he looked like Nolan Ryan? He looked like a god out there on the mound. Everything was just perfect. Like he was just throwing smoke. Curveballs were falling off the table. Like everything he did, perfect. It looked like he looked what like Paul Skeens is for the Pirates. Like he just came out and dominated. It was almost unhittable. You could have put any lineup against him that night, and I don't think anybody was going to hit him. Things are a little different now. Bobby Miller has dealt with injuries, not quite the same guy we saw at the beginning of the year. And then there was Andre Pallante, who came out on top in this one, limiting the Dodgers to 2 runs on 4 hits over 7 innings. Andre Pallante was really, really good. Walked 2, gave up a dinger to Ohtani, who has now homered against every major league club. I mean, he's pretty good. Our boy Andrew Wang, huge fan of Ohtani. You see us needling him a little bit online from time to time, but big Ohtani fan. He was at the games, and obviously that probably made him really, really happy. But Palante strikes out 5. He gave the Cardinals something they sorely needed, a consistent, no-drama outing, and it finally snapped their 5-game losing streak. He throws 95 pitches in the outing, 62 for strikes. Of the 95 pitches that he threw, 4-seam fastball or sinker 68 times. He wasn't diddling around, man. You know, he was coming right after people. Told the media after the game, what makes you want to throw fastballs and sinkers like that to a lineup that's loaded? You know, Freeman was in the lineup on Saturday before the finger injury. But they got Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, they got a lot of big names there. So what was it that makes him feel like he can get away with doing stuff like that? And he just said confidence. Confidence and aggression are very important. Aggression comes from being confident that this is your best pitch. And if you execute your best pitch, you're going to win. Pallante has been known to be much better against lefties in his career than righties. How many times have we had to hear that about the splits coming out of the bullpen, which is why he was a good weapon to have in your bullpen, because it didn't matter if the lefties came up, he could get those guys out. He struggled a little bit against the righties though, which was odd. But now that he's a starter again, the one particular thing that has apparently led to more success against the right-handers, according to Lynn Worthy at STLtoday.com, it's been the sinker. The sinker has been huge for Andre Pallante. And from what I gathered in his post-game interviews, it sounds like it's still a work in progress. So he's not even fully happy with it yet. He said, I'd like to say it's right around 50% of what I think it can be. It's a fastball. Guys are able to command fastball really well. I think I can too, especially as I get the movement more consistent. It's something I started working on my first year up, but hopefully that's something I can develop to be a really consistent weapon for me. And so do we. That's what we're all hoping for, because looking ahead to things, all right, not saying that this season is over yet and we should just flush it down the toilet, although we're getting really, really close. Talking about next year, talking about 2025, what is this rotation going to look like? You've already got under contract Sonny Gray. You've got Eric Fetty, Miles Mikolas, Steven Matz still under contract. 1 more year remaining on his deal. So those 4 are ready to go. Part of me thinks that they are going to bring Kyle Gibson back, but at the same time, I don't know if it's for certain. I don't think it's anything that Kyle Gibson's done wrong that is like, oh, no, you're gone. I know his last outing wasn't very good, but I think that we can agree that overall the signing of Kyle Gibson's been kind of solid, as far as, a guy on a 1-year deal. They do have a club option on him next year. Same thing goes with Lance Lynn, who's, still injured, but is trying to work his way back. But certainly Pallante has made the case for saving those funds, the money that you would use to bring back either a Lynn or a Gibson, and use them towards things that this team needs. Like, do we need to be paying $12 million for a guy at the back end of our rotation? Do we need to be doing that? When you got guys that seem to be capable of handling that particular role? Our buddy Josh Jacobs over at RedBirdBrands.com was talking about, how good Pallante has been recently. Since entering the rotation on May 29th, he leads the Cardinals starters in ERA at 3.75. He's second in FIP at 3.76, third in innings pitched, 69 2/3. And no, he's not a superstar ace guy, and you don't need your whole rotation to be number 1s and 2s. Like, as great as that would be, that's kind of ridiculous. Not a lot of teams can pull that off unless you're developing your own young talent. But going out and just buying those kind of guys, it's impossible to fill your rotation like that. for it to normally work. I suppose the Mets have tried, and the Dodgers got a lot of money invested and stuff, but you know what I'm saying, though. You're not gonna go out and just buy like 4 like the Rangers tried to do it, but DeGrom got hurt, Scherzer's been hurt, Evaldi's been good, but I mean, look at where they are in the standings. So anywho, the point was that Pallante can be a guy that you're 4 or 5 in the back of the rotation. You don't have to pay him a lot of money. And then you take those extra funds and you go stick them somewhere else. What the amount of money that you're going to save from, say you decide no Gibson, no Len. All right. Josh even brings up in one of his blogs about can they move on from the Steven Matz contract, that $11 million? I think that's going to be a lot harder than you think, considering not only and it's not that $11 million is a super huge amount of money, but he can't stay on the field. I don't know what team's going to be like, yeah, but they just throw him our way. We'll pay him to be hurt. So I don't think that's going to be an easy thing to do. But he's saying no Gibson, no Lynn. If you are clearing off some of Matz's money too, that's like $34 million that you could use, like I said, towards anybody. And there's some decent free agent names that are coming about, guys like Max Scherzer, Nathan Eovaldi, Shane Bieber. I mean, there's a bunch of them that are going to be available. And then I'm thinking on the other side of it too, is like, if you decide to not bring Paul Goldschmidt back, which all of you should be prepared for them to try and do, because that is such a Mo move. Why not keep the declining guy? Keep him around. Keep paying these guys. But imagine if Mo does, we're going to move on. Burleson's going to be my new first baseman. Walker's going to be whatever they decide to do. Luke and Baker's hitting 30-something bombs. We're going to give him a chance. Whatever they decide to do. And they decide to move on from Goldie. $34 million from the pitchers that you don't bring back. $26 million from Paul Goldschmidt that you're not paying him anymore. It's like $60 million to play with. 60. And if we're going to stay in this budget that the Cardinals are trying to stay in, which is fine, if that's your business, that's how you want to run it. Imagine what you could do with that. With $60 million, just to kind of, what should we do with this? Just something to think about. Like if you want to think about a positive thing and moving on from a lot of older guys, a lot of aging guys, and a lot in these expiring contracts, which at this point, I don't see why you would bring them all back. It's like you're not winning with them. So stop doing it over and over and over. So just something to think about. Keep in the back of your mind. The other thing that was great to see on Saturday was the power showing up again. Wynn, Burleson, Arenado all hit home runs. Wynn and Burley, 5 for 8, 3 ribbies, 4 runs scored to lead the way. JoJo and Helsley, very, very good at the end of the game there. Cardinals get that much-needed win, get them back and get another check mark in the W column. Haven't had a lot of those recently. And that brought us into Sunday, which we know the Cardinals hate facing lefties. You knew it was going to be a struggle. And one of the best to ever do it was on the mound for the Dodgers, and he was in Hall of Fame form on Sunday, unfortunately. So we'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel anytime you want. Now, I don't think I need to sell you on this all that much. I mean, it's a game changer. If you've ever had NFL Sunday Ticket, if you're a football fan and you've had life without it, and then you've had life with it, which one were you happier with? Because NFL Sunday Ticket is awesome. I'm a Packers fan. Obviously, I don't live in Green Bay, so I can't get all the games unless I go to a bar. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that every Sunday. I want to sit in my sweatpants. I want to be relaxed. I want to chill. I want to order in the takeout. I want all that. I want delivery. I don't want to go out. I don't want to shower. I want to be in my comfort zone at my house. And Sunday Ticket is my savior, dude. I'm telling you. And it has been for quite some time now. It's so good. It's so good. Whether it's, and I know it's the Packers for me, but for Rams fans, we got plenty of them still in St. Louis who root for the team, hate the owner, but still love the team. So I know those guys are there. The Chiefs, obviously, a lot of St. Louis people are now fans of the Kansas City Chiefs. They migrated over there, which is great because they're amazing too. Whoever it may be, this is the deal for you. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook and get hooked up with that deal. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Clayton Kershaw. All right, Clayton Kershaw, future Hall of Famer. Been pretty good at the sport for a very long time. Each year, it seems like he's like right on the verge of not coming back. Like he's like, all right, I've accomplished all I need to. I'm out of here. And then he decides, you know what? I love it. I'm still coming back. 12-3, 2.28 ERA in 2022. Last year, 13-5, 2.46 ERA. This year, coming back from an injury, so it took him a while before he started to get into major league games. Only made 4 starts coming into Sunday. 3 were really good. 1 was not. The Padres knocked him around. Padres are bashing everybody, so. But we know that the Cardinals cannot hit left-handed pitchers. We know this. If I'm playing the Cardinals, if I'm somebody who's in the playoff hunt right now, I'm just going to go find some lefties and just throw them out there on the mound because the Cardinals can't hit them. They just can't. They're terrible. They're terrible at it for whatever reason. So not only is Kershaw left-handed, but he's Clayton freaking Kershaw. You know, he's got to be licking his chops coming into Sunday's matchup where, as expected, he dominates. I know the Cardinals have had their success against him in the playoffs, but he did what most lefties have done to the Cardinals this year, and that is just shut them down. The Cardinals only had hits off Kershaw in the first 5 innings. 2 out single by Brendan Donovan in the second, 1 out single by Goldie in the 5th. In the 6th inning, Pedro Pages and Victor Scott the second. The one time where it's like, ooh, we got a little something going. Opened up the inning with singles. There we go. First and second, nobody out, but Mason Wynn flies out. Wilson Contreras grounds into a double play. Boom. Threat's over. Neutralized. That was it. That was it. It was crickets the rest of the day against Clayton Kershaw. In fact, it was pretty much crickets for the whole game until Lars Nootbaar gets that pinch hit home run in the 8th inning off Daniel Hudson to get the guys on the board. 2-1 ball game at that time. It's not like the Dodgers were running away with this thing. It's a shame because Sonny Gray, it was a struggle. It wasn't easy. It didn't look pretty, but Sonny Gray pitched pretty well against the Dodgers lineup that is pretty good, even though Freddie Freeman was out. They made him work. His pitch count was up very, very early. It's exhausting watching Sonny Gray pitch, isn't it? He's always doing, he's fidgeting around all the time, sweating all the time. He just looks, I mean, he's giving it every ounce that he's got out there. And it was a tough one for him. He only lasted 5 innings, just didn't have the command, but he still gave your team a fighting chance. You know, he allows 2 runs on 7 hits, one being the Shohei Ohtani missile into the Cardinals bullpen, which if it hit anybody, they probably would be severely injured. Struck out 6. He kept his team in it. 2 runs. That's his job. Got it done. Just nothing from the offense. Again, against the left-hander. 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. They grounded into 3 double plays, 1 to end the game. Just got dominated by Clayton Kershaw, who has that effect on teams. So I'm not as angry about it, but when you see a lefty on the mound, you're just like, we're screwed. Like, why even? It's so bad. Cardinals bullpen was strong, though. If we want to throw some positives out there, Armstrong, Libby, Fernandez, King, all threw up zeros. Libby, how about Matthew Liberatore? 2 more strikeouts. Has been outstanding in the month of August. 8 games, 11 2/3 innings, 15 punchies. His ERA is at 0.77. Opponents are hitting just 125 against him. Don't touch him. Don't even look at him. Just let him do his thing. Let him cook. Don't think about starting him out of nowhere and screwing him all up. Just leave him alone. Let him be that guy because he's good at it. So keep him there. Don't screw with him. Classic pitcher's duel, though, Busch Stadium on a hot day at Busch. Dodgers come out on top. Another one-run game. Obviously, the Cardinals love doing that. Another loss, though, for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have won only 2 games this season when they were losing going into the 9th inning. So not a lot of late-inning heroics from this team. Jordan Walker got his second start of the series, goes 0 for 3. Jordan is now 1 for 11 since getting called up. That hit was a single. He has walked once. He has struck out 3 times. He has had no impact whatsoever since bringing him up. I know the argument, he actually hits righties better than lefties. Why are we platooning him against lefties? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I argue with it too. So you're really good at this? Well, we're going to do this instead. I don't know. Victor Scott, 7 for 40. He's got the 1 home run, 4 RBIs since being called up. Batting 175. He does not have a walk. He does not have a stolen base. He has 1 run scored, which he drove himself in with the home run, and has struck out 14 times. Both of these guys, before getting called up, scorching the ball at Memphis, ripping the cover off the ball at Memphis. Get to the major leagues, and it all goes away. And I don't know what the disconnect is. Is it just the pitching at the major league level? Is that much better that they're seeing? I wish I had answers for you. But something isn't right. Something ain't right, man. I know many of you had to have seen the highlights from Dylan Carlson over the weekend. Smiling, having a good time in Tampa Bay. With the Cardinals this year, 198. No home runs, 11 RBIs. With the Rays in 41 at-bats. 293, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. 2 stolen bases. OPS 920. OPS plus 161. It just can't be a coincidence that these guys continue to walk out the door and immediately become very good hitters somewhere else. There is something severely broken in this Cardinals organization when it comes to developing these hitters. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew. I don't know where the disconnect is. But you can't keep seeing this happening and going, oh, man, just, luck of the draw. They're just, hey. No, something's up. Something's up and it needs to be fixed. The Cardinals will open up the series against the Brewers on Tuesday night. Eric Fetty, your scheduled starter. We need him to be good Eric Fetty, not poopy Eric Fetty, which he's been 2 out of the 3 starts since coming to St. Louis. Cardinals are already 1-6 against the Brewers this year. Have been outscored 42-16 in those games. The Brewers dominate them. They've won 5 in a row now, just in general, not against the Cardinals, but just in general. They're running away with the division, 11 games up on the second place Cardinals, despite losing their manager, trading Corbin Burns, who could win the AL Cy Young Award, losing Brandon Woodruff and Christian Yelich to injuries, not having Devin Williams for most of the year. Payroll, modest $115 million, but they keep winning. They're doing it right. I never thought as a Cardinal fan I would be jealous of the Brewers, but I am. We're going to do a crossover with Locked On Brewers host Chuck Friedman tomorrow, and maybe we can unlock some of the secrets and pass it along to the Cardinals to go like, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what they're doing right. Figure it out. So we'll try. We'll try it together. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals, and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow. Please give me feedback on what you guys are thinking about the team, the organization, decisions that are being made, any of these things. I want to start getting your feedback onto the show a lot more. I'm tired of just hearing my voice. I feel like I keep saying the same stuff over and over, because the same problems continue to be there for the Cardinals. And curious what you guys think. I want to start using your words to express your discontent or happiness. Maybe there's things that you like and you're like, hey, calm down, nerd, relax. Maybe I don't know. It's frustrating though. It's frustrating because you see this team and you see them compete well against the Dodgers. The one game gets away, should have won the series 2-3. And instead it's the other way around. And right now the Brewers are a better team than a lot of the teams in the league right now. Everything's working. And now you're going to face them for 3 at Busch Stadium. And I'm scared. I'm scared, man. I don't want to get embarrassed. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. I'll see you guys next time. And always remember, you're the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Have a good one.